Thank you all very much. Jackie especially for inviting me. And I'm standing in front of the wonder. And Ernie, who helped us redo all the electronics at the very last minute. So thank you, Ernie. Wonder. I'd like to start with a song. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder. Well, maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe I should go on. So, wonder is such an amazing topic. And it's not the same for everyone. For many people, wonder is about awe and the vastness of the universe and marveling. And for other people, it's kind of a curious topic, like, I wonder how many clowns could fit in that car. Or I wonder what's in that taco. So, you don't know. And sometimes it's just wishful wondering, like, I wonder if I will win the lottery. Probably not. So, one of the very special things about today is that it is the summer solstice, and that at precisely 9:54 this morning, it is the longest day. We already know this is the longest day, and it will be at its maximum axial tilt towards the sun, and that is 23.44 degrees, in case you're wondering. So, I've always been a wanderer, and my earliest memory of wandering came when my father made a Mobius strip for me. I was 4 years old, and in case you don't know what a Mobius strip is, it's a one-sided, non-orientable surface. To make a Mobius strip, you take a long piece of paper, make a half turn. Did I make a half turn? And take a piece of tape and tape that. My dad did it with a piece of the Philadelphia Inquirer. So that's what this is. And what he told me, because I was wondering about distances and time and magical experiences, and he told me, we took a pencil, and he told me if I were walking on a Mobius strip, and I kept walking and walking in the very same direction, eventually I would come back to where I started. This has been a wondering thing in my life pretty much forever. I think it's wondrous. I don't know. So, and you can make one. I mean, when I was 4 years old, I made like 100 of them. So personally, my own wondering takes up a lot of my time. And for example, I wonder who invented the Mobius strip. Why are glaciers blue? Can animals see radio waves? Will I ever meet a real saint? What is grace? I wonder, what is universal peace? When will it come? I wonder if my manuscript will ever become a book. I wonder if I have a doppelganger. I wonder if there are entities not currently in human form. I wonder why I seem to look before I leap, or rather, leap before I look. And I wonder about existential loneliness. I wonder about that a lot, what it is and why I'm attracted to the notion. So I also wonder what you wonder about. I gave a talk in Abiquiu a couple of years ago, and it wasn't only about wonder, but during the presentation, I asked the audience, what do you wonder about? And a man stood up, a very nice looking man, and he said, I don't wonder. Really, he said, I don't wonder. And so I couldn't help myself. I asked him, well, do you ever wonder why you don't wonder? So I don't think he responded. So one of my many, many, many favorite writers is G.K. Chesterton. And he said, the world will never starve for want of wonders, but for want of wonder. I hope that's not true. I hope we'll all keep on wondering. So he also wrote, and I love this, there are two ways of getting home. One is to stay there. The other is to walk around the whole world till we come back to the very same place. And that is back to the Mobius strip. So now to the Wonder Institute. You know, I have a business card that says the Wonder Institute, and I go around and I claim that I'm the founder of the Wonder Institute. And so people ask me what it is. And I like to think that it offers pieces of joy and compassion, philanthropy, beauty, truth, kindness, awe, and that we offer that to anyone and everyone. And it reminds me of a quote by Goethe, whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. And that's what I want the Wonder Institute to have. And the Wonder Institute began at a really sad time in my life. I had had a gallery for over 30 years, and I loved it, and I had kind of over time reinvented myself. So I was Linda Durham, girl art dealer, and I thought I could have the gallery until I was 100 years old. But a lot of things changed. More galleries, fewer collectors, difficult times, financial crises, not only mine. And so the gallery completely ran out of money. It ran out of borrowing power. And I had no choice. I tried to sell it, that didn't work. And so I thought, it's closing. And I had all the artists take their work back, and what was left, a couple of filing cabinets and some owned artwork and some miscellaneous furniture. And I put it in a truck and I trucked it back to my big old lonely house, and I stashed it in the garage, and I sat down on the floor, the cement floor, and I wept. I didn't know what would happen next. What did I still have? Now that I didn't have the gallery, now that I didn't have my old persona. And in a couple of days, I figured, okay, I have two things. I could think of two things I had to help me rebuild, to start again. One was my big old house. And it was kind of institute life. Like, it's not a practical house. It has lots of rooms, big ceilings, wall space. And so I thought it's like an institute. What else do I have? I have a sense of wonder. And eureka! I thought, the Wonder Institute, that's what I'll do. I'll start the Wonder Institute. So I didn't know exactly what would come after the title. And I was getting over my debilitating sense of failure and roadblocks. And So a good friend of mine who is a web designer and an artist and a collector spoke with me, and we arranged a barter. She would set up a website for me in exchange for artwork. This was fantastic. So soon the Wonder Institute would have a website. And she asked me, and she's here today, Sandra Filippucci. She asked me, what do you want to put on your website? Well, I really wasn't sure. I thought for a while, and a couple of ideas surfaced. And the first one was, I missed this whole card. So, with my question, which is, I'm going to read it to you right now. I wonder, how can I inspire those who struggle like I do? How can I engage the world doing things I love to do? Which was really more of what I thought the Wonder Institute would be. So my first idea, or one of my first, was the Wonder Postcard Project. What I did was I got the idea, that was first. Then I made a postcard, printed on one side, it said the Wonder Institute, and I put a stamp on it, and on the other side, it said, I wonder. And I got in my car with 100 or 200 cards, all stamped, and I went on a road trip. And I went all the way to Florida. I went through Georgia, I was in Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and everywhere I went, I stopped at student unions and parks and coffee shops and Walmarts, and saw people, and I would go up to them, and in a very pleasant way, I would say, excuse me, my name is Linda, and I'm from the Wonder Institute in Santa Fe, and I'm wondering, would you be willing to take one of these cards, and when you have a moment, write down what you wonder about, and then drop it in the mail, and you'll go into a collection that we at the Wonder Institute are compiling. And you didn't have to write anything else. You didn't have to say your sex, or whether you owned or rented your house, or how old you were, or anything. Just what did you wonder about? So it was pretty exciting. I need my Clementine, she's trained in this, as I said. So I started to get a lot of cards back. And they thrilled me. People wonder about all kinds of things. I wonder if we can learn to live in harmony, respect, and equality. What does it take? I wonder what it will be like to be alone again. I wonder why I am tongue-tied. Seems that the older I get, the less I want to say. While I am certainly in favor of self-expression, communication, and connection, I feel swamped in the chatter of this time. Creative output is massive and shallow, swampish. I had a sober moment of 3D dread when I watched the thunderheads build over the mountains, a sickening awe of climate, and I wonder if I will live in a world of shared beauty or shared dread. I wonder why we have starving people in America. I wonder about space. Is it really the final frontier? I wonder why children get incurably sick. I wonder about heaven. She's from Gulfport, Mississippi. I wonder, and this one stayed with me till this moment. I wonder what happened to Jenny 20 years ago. I love you, Jenny girl. Mom. Wow. So I have hundreds of cards. Some of them are funny, as you saw. Some people describe their wonder without words, which of course makes a lot of sense. And that's a little bit about the Wonder Project. And the next one that I'd like to talk about is the Worldwide Women of Wonder. So, like probably everyone in this room, I care about how other people in the world are doing, what their struggles are. I especially care about women's problems and issues, and I celebrate the inborn strength of women. And I think they're hardwired to help and to want to help. And so I thought of another project, a way in which women could help other women. And not just like by writing a check for money, which not everybody can do. Send Planned Parenthood $100 or send a battered shelter organization a $25 check. We might want to, but we can't. But I thought every woman, every person, probably at some time or another could find $1 extra to give to help others who might need it more than they did. So here was my idea. You would give me $1. You don't have to right now, Linda. And you would write on it the 4 W's, Worldwide Women of Wonder. And you would put your initials on it. And I would collect a big bundle of $1 bills. I used $25 as a number that was small enough and big enough. And I tied them with red ribbons or pink ribbons or multicolored ribbons. And I drove around and I looked for people who might be surprised and excited to receive a bunch of dollars. And the very first time I did it, I had the bundle of money in my car. I was driving on St. Michael's Drive, and I saw a woman crossing the street, and she was pushing a store grocery cart, and she had a little kid in the car, a little girl, and a few groceries. So I parked my car, I went around the block, parked my car, and then I thought I'll head her off through this little weeded area. So I walked up to her and I said, hello, this is for you. She jumped back. Is this a joke? No, it's not a joke. I'm part of an organization that gives money to women. And here you are. She got more serious and she said, will I get in trouble? No, it's nothing, it's no trouble, it's for you. And then she hugged me and she held me for a minute and she started to cry. And she said, this is a miracle. I didn't know what I was going to do. I only have 2 diapers left. To me, it puts a lot more in perspective how close so many of us live to the edge and how great a small, unexpected surprise gift can be. These are some of the other recipients of the dollars. My idea was very, very much larger than the reality. My idea was this program, if we could call it that, would spread across the country. And cities across the country would all say, yeah, we could do that in our town. And individuals that I don't even know would collect these dollars, would do the same thing, wrap them in sparkly ribbons, write on them. And I also imagine that people would go and they'd get their change with the grocery store and what's this? 4 W's. in the beginning, my first idea, but people said, no, you can't do that. Well, I did, but that I would put the 4 W's, very small, in a corner of the dollar bill, and I would tear that off and put it in my wallet where I keep my driver's license, and that would be my membership. So, because there are no charges, no administrative costs. It all goes to women in need. So it didn't grow that big. Let's see. The woman at the top, okay, what time is it? 9:54. It's 9:54. And could we all take maybe 3 breaths, because this is the exact moment here in the Rocky Mountains when we are experiencing the greatest, I'm not going to try and say it in astronomical terms because I'll screw it up, but you know what I mean. It's right now, right here. So, okay, and now the third project that I'd like to discuss is Seeds of Peace. In this project, I went to a friend of mine who has a paper business, and I asked her, sorry, that was my phone. They probably want to sell me a bathtub that you can walk in. So, I don't need one yet. So with Seeds of Peace, I had a friend of mine who has a paper business make these little discs, and they were embedded with wildflower seeds. And I did a presentation and asked friends and strangers at this event if they would take one of these discs and write a prayer for peace or a wish for peace. And then I collected all those discs and I took them with me around the world. And with the help of people I met, and yeah, there's a whole lot of them as I was going. These are 2 young boys in Soweto. And when I got there, I had some discs and I was looking around. Soweto in South Africa, a perfect place to plant seeds of peace. So there was a patch of very rough and dry earth, and these 2 boys came over and they said, what are you doing? And I told them, and they agreed to help me. So with sharp sticks, we dug a little hole. I gave them some blank papers, and one young boy, the younger one in blue, wrote his name on the disc. The other boy couldn't write. So he scribbled something, he made a little scribbly mark. And so I took one and I made a scribbly mark. And we took those and one from the US. And we planted them, and we got an old can, and there was a big mud puddle nearby. And we filled the can with water from the mud puddle, and we planted it. And I hope it grew. I think about it. I do imagine that little place, and I imagine a sunny flower, maybe like one of these on my arm, growing up. So, and then I also, I worked with grandmothers. We planted things together. This is in Lesotho, in Thailand or in Madagascar. That I went there. I don't know if I have slides of everything. This is a wonderful grandmother. She was excited. She planted it in her flower pot right outside her house. This is a monk in Myanmar, and it's a couple years ago. My hair didn't look good that day. But this monk and I are the same age, and we had a wonderful talk, and he took a disc to plant as well. That's kind of what I was doing, and I, like the person who wrote this, I pray for action because it's not too late. And I like to close with a quote that I love by T.S. Eliot. And indeed, there will be time to wonder, do I dare? And do I dare? Time to turn back and descend this stair. Wondering, I think we all do it. I think it's time to find those places in ourselves of wonder. And the Wonder Institute does many other things, but the projects that we can do that are simple, that just take a little imagination and a big heart and a little time, and that's what we've got, to wonder. Thank you.